Hello, my friends. Welcome to today's design session. Christmas has come and Christmas has gone. And if you're like me, you're a little overwhelmed and feeling underwater at the moment. Why? Because it was a lot of work to get ready for Christmas, and it's a lot of work afterwards. And this is the very reason most people take their Christmas decorations afterwards, throw them all into one container, or 2 or 10 or however many things they have to put away, and they just sort of don't want to think about it until next year. That's what I did for years, but I've discovered a way to make my Christmas decorating experience enjoyable, something that I look forward to, something that I do now in order to prepare for next year and years to come. It all has to do with how you put your things away this year. I'm going to show you how I store all my Christmas decorations, and I put myself in a position where I can spend more time decorating and a lot less time searching for things. So I hope you downloaded your PDF and you have that sitting in front of you so you can take some great notes on what I'm going to share. All right, I'm going to show you my own garage where I store everything. Step number 1, have a plan. Principle number 2, protect your investment. And principle number 3, last things first. What do I mean by have a plan? Well, there's some things inside of that principle, and here they are. Set a date. If you set a date and you have time set aside specifically for this process, you're going to feel good about it and your heart and your head's going to be in it. Determine the location where you're going to store all of your things. And this is my dedicated storage space just for Christmas. I feel like it is such a luxury. Measure the space that you have available. How much height do you have? How deep? How wide? And be sure to write it down. And this area here, doesn't it look like a bakery, like you could find muffins on it? No, this is dedicated to nothing but wreaths. Do you know how many wreaths I have? I have flocked wreaths, I have green wreaths. They're all going to be laid out here and I can see exactly what I have. The best part about this unit is I had to put on casters, which means during the holidays I can use this space and maximize it, and not holidays I can use more storage in the front. So watch this. This whole thing rolls back as one solid unit. Even with all the stuff on it, it goes pretty smoothly. And right there, that's where I put all of my tubs for my trees and larger garlands. Now this whole wall section here is what this house came with. And I'm going to put all of my colored Christmas balls and ornaments in here. And then I imagine I'll put my pillows over here, and then I'll put my figurines and things like that over here because I have high spaces and I've got some tall figurines. And this final section, as I see it, this is where I'm going to put all of my entertainment stuff like plates and placemats and goblets. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. So let's see how it all fits. Look for bins that will fill up every inch of that space. If your space is tall enough for more than one bin, look for bins that are stackable. I highly recommend clear containers because it will save you a lot of time not having to open up every single container to see what's in it. I'm not sure that any of us has as much space as we'd like to have. So just make sure that you are maximizing your storage space by getting the right bins. Last year I did my son and daughter-in-law's place. I helped them decorate for the first time. They've been married, I don't know, almost 10 years. And they brought in 2 bins. All of their Christmas decorations, 10 years worth, were in 2 bins. And it was all just a throw it in. And I bet a lot of you are in that same boat. And you know what? It's not very motivating or exciting or fun to do your Christmas decorating. It doesn't inspire you. Planning is key for having a successful organizing project. Just jumping right in is not going to get you where you ultimately want to go. Second principle, protect your investment. You've spent good money on these Christmas decorations, and you can use them year after year after year if you protect them properly. I have found that by removing the hooks, my balls will be shinier and more beautiful and last a lot longer. I start with a large bubble on the bottom, giving me the most cushion, but I find that if I layer with the thin bubble wrap, it still protects my ornaments, but maximizes the space. You wonder why your balls are scratched when you open them up each year? It's those darn hooks, so take them off. And since you've done that, take a baggie full of hooks and put them in each one of your containers. That way, you're not searching around for where in the world are the hangers. I personally use clear bubble wrap. I take all the time to organize these by color, so clear bubble wrap will still allow me to see what's in each one of those bins. Principle number 3, last things first. Are you wondering what I'm talking about? Well, it's the order in which you actually begin to take things down. So we're going to take this tree down and all of the decor, and we're going to show our design sessions members the order that we do it in. For starters, I've laid out the buckets in exactly everything that went on this tree. So as we take them down, take the hooks off, then we can put them where they belong. We're going to start with the tree skirt, but before we take the tree skirt off, we need to take all these little loose balls out. Pull this out. Time for you to go to the dry cleaners, girlfriend. Disconnect the stomper and all of your lights. If your tree is tipped with icicles, take those off now. Why is that important? Because it's all along the edge of the tree and you don't want to be reaching through other things. So start on the outside and work your way in. Now it's time to take off the vignettes, like the little decorative kinds of things like the bells and the leaves and the snowflakes, the actual ornaments that are not balls. One of the things we need to do is I put on here, and I love these, the succulents and my Sandy Claus. I told you, I save everything, even the sand.
Here, take this one.
So these are going to go in specially wrapped. I do not want these to get broken, so I'm going to put these in special things. Take off all the cute little, ornaments that are very farmhouse style. Bunny goes with critters, and so does, that's a bunny? I think that's a deer. You don't think that's a bunny?
I think
it's got very long legs.
I don't know, it looks like a moose to me.
Till next year. Take down the special ornaments that are placed on your spinners. You want to protect those right now. And as you do that, tie a red ribbon or any color you want around that spinner. Why? Because you want to know where it is next year. Now you're ready to take down the ornaments and balls and sort them by color. My bucket here of greens is all filled in. Now I'm going to put a layer of bubble wrap. We're having so much fun. It's great when you do it as a team, right?
Yeah.
These are the guys that are usually behind the camera. You don't get to see them, but these are them. I have a box that I'm putting like the little signage in. I mean, really, come on, that is too cute. Ornaments are done. The white furry critters and ornaments are done. Pine cones. Okay. Now that all the fragile stuff is off, it's time to take down the ribbons and the garlands. I need you to get the clippers because all of this stuff is wired in as well as the ribbons. Now my garland is often wired onto my tree. So now I'm gonna take the garland off. It's a big hassle to try to unwind that wire. So I often go in and I snip it with wire cutters. Just be careful not to cut your lights. And a big part to protecting your investment is to unwind those ribbons. Take them apart, roll them up, and store them by color. And even after Christmas, I roll up the ribbons that are used on packages if those ribbons are left behind. This stuff costs money, and you know what? I kind of enjoy it. I like to sit in front of the television at night and just roll away. Proper storage of your ribbons means you can use them again next year and the year after and the year after. And that's how you end up with a plethora of Christmas decorations that you can choose from every year. It makes you feel a whole lot better about spending money on Christmas decorations because you know that you can use it year after year if you do it this way. Okay, so as I go, I'm going to furl it all around. Matt, can you go around and unhook this part? Never mind, I got it. Boy, did I get it. All right, now we are going to officially take down the tree topper. Yay! You're taller ladder, aren't you?
Oh no.
Okay. Matt's taking off the row of lights that we run down the center of the tree. And the reason these have to come off is because it's on one long strand. So when he takes this tree apart in sections, this cord goes all the way through. So you'd have to cut the cord, which I am not letting him do. The tree itself, the trunk is very bare. And in my case this year, I used a garland to actually wrap up the center of the tree to fill it out and give it more girth so it wasn't so leggy. And so watch, as I take these extra pieces of snow out, this is her padding. That's what this tree looks like without its toupee. She's a skinny one. Nowhere near as luxurious as I make her look. At this point, we're gonna take all of the bins with the ornaments in them and start filling in the storage shelves in the garage. And when we're done with that, we'll come back in here, finish taking this tree apart, and put those in the bins and show you how we store our larger pieces. You can see here that next year when I go to select my colors, I've already got all of my basics right here. They're all stacked together and I can just grab them and go. Maybe I want to do red and green next year. Well, they're all right here. I can grab and go. But once I put my basics on, whichever direction I go, I can then decide what kind of theme do I want? What color ornaments and balls do I want? And that's what we learned in the last design session. If you haven't unlocked that session, you really should go back and watch it because we talk all about theme decorating, and it's just 30% more to what you already put on your tree. And don't you love them in these clear bins because you can actually see the colors of the balls? I used to put labels on all of my bins, and I don't even do that anymore because now that I use clear and they're so well organized by color, it's a very simple move it in and move it out every year. I think this clearly illustrates too how each one of these containers fit perfectly, like within a quarter of an inch. And when I got down to spaces like this, I used the same container here, but then got these ones that are just a little bit taller. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for 2 bins, so I broke it up. It's easy to break it up. I think the key is In order for it to be efficient and easy to find next year what you're looking for, try to use as many of the same type of bins as you can and not have all these different things going all these different directions. Not only is it not efficient, it doesn't look very pretty, and I think this looks pretty. I want you to know that I keep my balls and ornaments very, very safe, but I always get rid of the original boxes. And the reason is I can store so many more in these tubs and put bubble wrap between them to keep them very safe if I take them out of their original boxes. So the difference between this with a box in it that almost fills up the tub and this with my bubble wrap sort of surrounding each one of these balls is night and day. I'll be able to fit so many more in one container by doing it this way. Just make sure, most importantly, that you have bubble wrap between the balls so they don't scratch each other and they don't break. That tub doesn't look like it has much more in it than it did before I put those in. But with that extra, whoa, with that box, see, the bubble wrap's awesome. With that box, look at the difference. So, boxes, no more. Color balls. And this is how I store my trees. That you have to literally bend up because these don't naturally furl up, but you'll be able to store more if you unfluff your tree. When you open this tree up brand new, it comes this way. We'll lay that piece in. Now typically I put the bottom piece and the top piece in the same container. And the reason for that is the bottom piece is your biggest one and the top is your smallest, so you can fit two in one. We'll hold this out until we get that bottom piece. And go the opposite direction. And we have a little trick to make this guy fit. You'll see. Put that one in there. Now, does anyone see a problem here? We have a little secret, and this is why we're showing this to you, because I think a lot of people have this problem and don't know what to do. Personally, I have found that because my trees are like 9 feet tall, it's hard to find containers that can hold those, even though they break up into 4 or 5 pieces, they're just really long. So you gotta be creative in your containers or your bins or your buckets or whatever you wanna call them, those tubs that you put your trees in. I got an idea for you. This right here is a Genius Becky thing. I made it up.
I told you about that.
You did not. And Matt just cut a hole in that one so we could do it there too. And look how perfectly it fits. And guess what? We're gonna need a third hole. Ooh, yeah. We put this guy in the opposite direction. This is the most important thing. Are you ready? There are 2 things you must put in your original box. And this is what you put in. See this guy? Your tree stand. Now my tree stand is welded to this big round thing because I used it the year I did my half tree. But this is where you would take your tree stand. Don't put your tree stand in any other container other than the one that has the base. This one that starts the whole tree, put your tree stand in there, put your stomper in there, and put your multi-plug. This is your multi-plug, 1, 2, 3 outlets in one plug, which then goes into your stomper, which goes into the wall. This, you can start at the top of your tree and go all the way down. Imagine next year. You bring in these tubs with your Christmas tree and you open it up And in the Christmas tree tub that has the base, there's your stand, your stomper, your electrical cord, and your string of lights that twinkle. Can you imagine? We're setting ourselves up for major success next Christmas. Oh, this one's pretty heavy.
That one's kind of heavy. That one.
All right, this will be number 1,
Yep.
number 2, and number 3.
All right, so you
that
get
way.
these two, and I'll get that one.
Okay, no worries. That's what I love about you. If you're considering having an alternative tree, let's say you have a green tree and you'd like to invest in a flocked tree, I would highly recommend that you build into the cost of that purchase getting an additional stomper, the electrical outlet that goes down the center with the 3 plugs, twinkle lights if you're going to do that, and new spinners. Each tree needs to have their own spinners so that you don't take them off each year. If you take them off, remember, you have to replace that bulb back into that hole, and if you don't have that bulb, you are in a world of hurt. Sad but true story, 3 years ago, my white tree and my green tree that I had had for a number of years, and probably 5 or 6, 7, 8 years, my favorite flocked tree of all time, I couldn't get the lights to work to save my soul. Went, plugged it in, nothing. All the layers didn't work. The green tree, the same thing. That year, I had to buy brand new trees, and what was weird to me was, why is it that all of a sudden both trees aren't working? They just went out. It just dawned on me as I recorded what I just said to you about the spinners. I'll bet you anything. When I took the spinners off the trees, I didn't know to wrap a ribbon on it. I didn't replace the bulbs, and that's why those trees didn't work. It wasn't that the lights went out. It's that they were missing a light, so the string won't light up. It would have been way cheaper to buy a whole new set of 10 or 12 spinners than a whole new tree. Now that's protecting your investment. Now I'm going to save your sanity with the red box. Now the box isn't red, but the ribbon on top of it is definitely red. And you know what that tells me? This is my special box. So if something is a problem for me year after year after year, eventually I go, let's see, I cannot expect a different result if I'm doing the same thing. So I came up with this idea, and I'm going to share this with you. You're going to love it. It's going to change and rock your world.
What's a red box?
Red box is my little trick. First off, the things that I need when I start decorating for Christmas all go in this box. They're all the important things that most of the time I look all over for them. You may have them in drawers or your sewing room. My idea is this: take all these tools, put them together, and do not touch them except at Christmas time. These are strictly Christmas supplies and tools. You ready to see what I put in my red box? Here's the first thing. This is a tester for bulbs, right? Those pesky bulbs that go out. You can plug this in, plug the cord of the bulbs in, and you can go zzz, 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 and you can hear, look at this little film right here, and it'll show you how this thing works.
I hear that noise. That's what we're looking for. The bulb that's making that noise.
Oh, there is a God, and his name is Dave.
Three bad bulbs.
So that goes in first because it's nice and big and takes up a fair amount of room. The next thing that I put in there are some extension cords. One is an extension cord and one is an extra stomper. Now I put the stomper in with my tree when I store it for the year, so there is one in there, but sometimes I need an extra. So I put that in there. The next thing I put in my box is a little box of nails. And these are just nails that I use sometimes to hang up Christmas art, or you just never know. You might need, and it's a certain size that I like. Let me show you. This little nail right here that has a larger head on it so things don't slip off. So I have that box. I also have a supply of, guess what this is? You're gonna love this. These are all my extra bulbs. So every time I buy a Christmas tree, every time I buy a wreath or a garland, you know how they always come with a little package of extra bulbs? I put the bulbs, look how many I have. I have separate containers that I use, and these are stackable, and I just love these containers because they're super, super helpful and easy to store things. These are the things you're going to need the moment you start decorating, and you do not want to be searching in all these different bins and containers and on your tool table and on your sewing table to find these things. So extra spinners. I actually also have a lighter, and I keep that in there. You know why? Because this lighter ends up everywhere in my house. Sometimes I find it out on the barbecue. So my Christmas stuff has its own lighter. I have a small tape measure, because I always want to measure things, and I also have this kind of tape measure. The next one, I put all the things that I use for fastening. This is my floral wire in all kinds of different sizes and gauges. I used to spend so much time looking for these. I know it's here, and you know why? Because I use it year round for other craft projects. Additional ornament hangers, super important to have. I keep a glue gun that I use only for Christmas time. Additional glue sticks that fit that glue gun. My favorite glue, this is E6000, and I tell you, this is like the best glue. Anything will stick to this. And then I have some of this Silly Putty, sticky tack, that's what it's called. Sometimes I'll put up a piece of Christmas art or something in my accessorizing, and I want to make sure that it hangs straight. So I have this. All right, the last two things are the threads that I use when I hang my snowflakes from the ceiling. One is white and one is off-white. And by the way, when I hang snowflakes or anything from my ceiling, I do not use fishing line. A lot of people think that clear fishing line is the way to go. My experience is that it reflects light. So rather than it look like this snowflake is just falling from nowhere, I see all these shiny lines coming from my ceiling. So regular thread or embroidery thread, a little thicker, works great. And then these are my hat pins, and they're like the big pearl at the top. It holds really well, and then that little pin head is barely noticeable because it matches the color of the paint on my ceiling. These are the tools that I need desperately at Christmas time. And if you're like me, you probably spend a lot of time searching for them. No more. All right, a small girl size hammer. I have some cutters because I use a lot of artificial greens and flowers. And I have a box cutter. I have two screwdrivers, one that is a Phillips head and one that is a flat head. These are great when you're doing your ribbons on your trees because you want to cut your ribbon in a fishtail, and the top part is where you cut the wire and the bottom part stays nice and sharp so you can cut through on the fabric. Alrighty, so that is what I use for my tools. So I place these right in here. These are the lights that go to the garland that's super green, or somehow I identify what it goes to because they're all different. And now I put the top on, thus the red box. It just has a red ribbon on top. And you know what this tells me? When I go out to my supplies and I'm ready to start Christmas decorating and I'm selecting my theme and I'm selecting my basics, the first thing I'm going to need is my tools and supplies. The last time you had to do some gift wrap, how was your experience? I got it. Okay, so I can see you now. You did what I used to do. You got your wrapping paper and your gift and your scissors. And you went down, you sat down on the table, and you rolled out your paper, and you got your scissors, only to realize, wait, I need to get tape. Let me go get tape. And now you go, has anybody seen the Scotch tape? You finally find the Scotch tape, you bring it over, and then you go, wait a minute. I need the two-sided tape. And you know what? This particular wrapping paper has got glitter on it, so the tape, none of the tape is sticking. I need that special red tape. So if you're like me, you get up like 6 or 7 or 8 times, sometimes I do this on the floor, off the floor to go find your pen and then to get a gift tag. I mean, let me help you. Take a deep breath. This is my gift wrap box. So here's the first one. And this one is where I put the things that are connective, okay? That means glue or tape. So I have my hot glue. Now, this is a small hot glue as opposed to the larger. It has smaller sticks. It doesn't get as hot. Perfect for gift wrap. I carry a cord, an extension cord, because sure enough, when you need the hot glue, you're gonna be looking all over for an extension cord. Then I carry, of course, all the extra glue sticks exactly for this gun. Then I also have, oh, and let me show you this. See this? This is a glass coaster. It's for pots, it's for anything. I keep it in here. You know why? Because I needed something to lay my hot glue gun on so it doesn't burn my table or my floor or my carpet or whatever. I like to have all the kinds of tape I could possibly need so I don't have to get up off the floor again. So I start with packing tape, clear packing tape. Usually that's just to adhere the boxes together at the top. Then I have regular Scotch tape. Easy breezy, breezy, beautiful cover girl. I've been watching America's Next Top Model lately. This is the coolest thing ever. Now, this is what you use for those hard to adhere to wrapping papers. What am I talking about? I'm talking about glitter paper, or paper that's so thick that you get the tape on it, you know, and then all of a sudden it goes, it like undoes. So this stuff, you lay this on, cut it off, and then the top piece of the red stuff comes off, and it's two-sided. And then I keep just a thing of string so I can tie things together. So do you get it? This is my connecting adhering box. This is one of those pinhead pins. Why do I have that? Because sometimes when I'm gift wrapping and I need to find the center of a box, I need to poke a hole in it, so I keep a pin in there. All right. So you put this together, and I promise you, your husband and your kids and your wife, whoever's watching this, you will not be going, has anyone seen the two-sided tape? Some of my tools, okay? So I keep a ruler in here. Why? Because sometimes I really do want to have a straight edge when I'm cutting. So I'll measure it out, I'll leave a line on it, or if I'm doing a pre-wrapped box, I measure it out. So a clear ruler is really helpful. By the way, when it comes to wrapping paper, I personally love the wrapping paper that has the grid on the back. Isn't that awesome? Scissors for paper and scissors for ribbon. Now these are my this is like, you know, your fabric scissors. These are good. I have a Sharpie, because sometimes I need it, and a pen. Why? Because I'm going to get to my name tags in a second. I keep a piece of chalk in here, because sometimes I use like butcher paper. You know, if I'm doing like, this year we did this farmhouse, Christmas tree, modern farmhouse. So I use butcher paper, and that's easier to leave a line where you want to cut. So chalk works well. Also, I have gift tags. The next one has nothing but tissue paper in it. And then the last thing is my gift tags. So every year, I use a lot of them, but I buy new ones. And so there's always a few left over, so it's fun. Look at this. This is a gift tag that is a chalkboard gift tag. You need to gift wrap? Easy peasy. I know this looks like a lot of ribbon, but you know what? If you've been married over 30 years like I have, you probably bought this much ribbon too in your lifetime or close to it. It's just you haven't necessarily taken good care of it so that you keep it and can use it year after year. Yes, I need a lot of storage for this stuff, but honestly, I spend less money every year because I don't have to go out and re-buy the same gold ribbon. Let me show you this ribbon. I've had for about 20 years. Now watch how pretty it is. I still keep it because I've never been able to find anything quite like it. It's got gold and silver in it. And I just think, well, first off, it reminds me of past Christmases, but this thing has been used on packages, on trees, on garlands, in windows, I mean, just about everything. And I take it apart every year. And I have a little tradition that I take all the bows off. You know, anybody who doesn't take a bow with them, which they're kind of silly if they don't, but if they leave bows behind, or if I take it off my tree or my decorations, I just leave a whole, like literally a bushel of bows and ribbons next to my sofa. And then while I'm watching television, I take them apart and I roll them up on my fingers. Sometimes I use old paper towel rolls or toilet paper, empty toilet paper rolls. But do you see how pretty that is? Except for this part, imagine that. Oh, put that up in there. How pretty is that? I love that ribbon. And you know, I keep it year after year after year. And if I went through these bins, I could show you things I've had forever. So take good care of your things that you buy for Christmas, because if you do, they are an investment. how beautiful this turquoise, oh look, back in the day, I used to put a pin in it. This turquoise and gold ribbon is. I mean, for the right tree at the right time, this was the year I had the peacock, remember that? I'm serious about making every inch count. I was able to find bends that would slide underneath of my rolling units. Oh my gosh. Is that like pure heaven? And even a smaller one that, look at that. We're talking about some serious measuring skills here, guys. I make sure that on the ends, the ribbon is rolled in such a way where I'm not looking at this, I'm looking at this. And I guess I forgot to mention the obvious, I put my ribbons away by color too. Okay, now we're gonna roll this thing back in to get it out of the sun because we're gonna fill this up with our wreaths. So that way we can do it from this side. That's the cool part is we have so much flexibility. Ready? Let's go. This is a grapevine wreath. Remember how I did this last year with preserved greenery in it, and it was a two-sided wreath. So what I do every year with my wreaths is I completely undecorate them because I find that the next year I am not gonna wanna do it the same color. And now with these kinds of storage shelves, they should be safe, but those ribbons, they just don't hold. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever put your stuff up in the attic, like a garland, let's say, and it's got ribbons on it, and then you go up, and nothing's been up there, right? You go up there a year later and you take it out, and this thing looks like big giant rats have been sitting on it all year. Yeah, I don't know how that happens, but it does. It's called gravity. Guys, remember this? If you haven't seen this video, if you're new to my channel or new to the design sessions, you may never have seen this. It is a antique book pages wreath that I made out of a Bible. I didn't know it was a Bible at the time. I asked God to forgive me. So in order to make this space really efficient, and because these are literally the kind that just get flat, 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 I'm going to store these all together. And that's another reason why we undecorate them. But I love these because they have pine cones in it. It's much more natural and earthy feeling. And it is on a twiggy kind of a base. So I have a pair of these. Now I'm going to move up to some snowy ones. Remember this one when this was above my fireplace in my gray and white and silver and mercury glass theme. Now these are the year I did sort of a harvest look. You could actually use these at Thanksgiving too. And just like I do my balls, I put the heavier and bigger things on the bottom and the smaller things on top. Again, I'm a girl, I'm short, so for me to reach something up high, I'd rather be picking up and pulling down something that's smaller than something that's bigger. I used these on the back of my dining chairs one year. That was so cute. Oh, I love that photo. I'm too short to know on which way we lean, Ellie, Lino. No. All right. No. Yay. Wow. So isn't that just such a blessing? Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Our category now is pine cones and picks and twigs. You see how these are all snowy? They all have snow on them or ice. So if I choose to use my flocked tree next year, I know where all my picks are that I'm going to want to use. These are built. Honestly, it was not planned this well. I just happened to find the bends that fit perfectly so I could put 3 across. Ugh. Can you imagine? It's so frustrating when you can only do like 2.5. And I do the same thing in here that I taught you in the others, is put your more heavy things on the bottom. And then I end up with just my greens on top. These are not with snow, and these are my little ivy and my red berries that I used this year. All right, so I have 3 bins of lights, And the reason I'm showing you these is these go along the bottom of this particular unit. And I always keep the cords with the lights. Otherwise, you can lose those so easily. This is my third one, and it is not full, and it's also the specialty lights. Last year, so I'm gonna tell you, true confessions, I bought 10 boxes of these lights on sale after Christmas. These are also the starry lights. I love them. But look, if I try to put these boxes in here, but I'm just saying it's hard to fit them all in. So can you help me with this, Matt? But if we put them in like this, I think we're going to be able to put a lot more in here. You see, did I make that point perfectly? That by taking things out of their original boxes, you save room. So what I'm putting in now is all of my little candy cane, village lane, you know, the children's tree ornaments. These are critters and birds. Love me some birds. Hey, this is a really good tip. Whenever you're organizing or doing your anything, always leave room for growth. Remember, I've taught you before, the 70-30 rule is about how to add 30% to change up your theme. But we also have the 80-20 rule, and that is every year I try to add about 20% to my Christmas decorations. So these are future homes of future goodies. And then here's another empty one. So I've got room, 1, 2, 4 tubs. I can get a lot in there. Okay. I'm gonna pull this out. Here we go. I'm gonna pull it out. Ready? And start working on the other side. So you know what we've put in the garage so far for storage, but I want you to come here for just a second because I want you to realize how efficient we're being with our space. We have filled up, what, 2/3 of it already. But look what's still here left to go in the garage. What you're gonna witness now, we're gonna put this on a time lapse so we don't bore you, but we are gonna fill up every inch of the rest of those shelves, and all of what's in here is gonna be gone and put away until next year. Ready, Matt? Go. Here's a quick tip for you that'll save you a lot of time. This decanter, I wanted to put up on this shelf with the others that match the set, but it's too tall. And again, trying to maximize my space, but look, if I take the little topper off, then I can fit it up there. So what I'm gonna do, so that I don't get this confused with all the other tops and pieces and parts that I own, so I'm gonna take the finial on this decanter and I'm just gonna literally use clear packing tape and tape it right to the bottle. So this one has its guy all attached. Kind of cute, huh? If you've gotten into this new craze of battery operated candles, I love these the most. They're from Pottery Barn, and it actually looks like the flame is flickering, so they're much more realistic, and I use them all the time. Well, at Christmas time, these are my birch ones, I take the batteries out for storing. First off, the batteries, you can reuse them. They don't take much battery power, so remember to take the batteries out because they can corrode and they can ruin your candles, and these are not inexpensive. All right, Matt, so I just put up a nail because I love my reindeer that you think is a moose, but I know he's a reindeer, and he's just gonna decorate this place. Now, can you help me undo these?
Sure.
If we untie them, and all of my stuff will be covered and protected. So here's the coolest part, which I mentioned earlier. The way I had these shelves made, they're on casters. So I can actually have this open like this during the holidays and use my space perfectly, but during the year, when I need to get as much storage as possible, this rolls in and I still have access to everything. I can even walk down here, through here, and around, but this gives me room on the other side for me to bring in my Christmas trees and all my tubs. Yay. We also have these tubs. These are not in clear plastic. I wish they were, but it's why I have to properly label them every year. And these, so the larger things. And then I have room here for my flat-backed tree and my green tree. And my green tree is still up, so we need to leave space for that. By now, you must be really excited about the possibilities. Don't get discouraged if you can't do it all overnight. I have stored my things in cardboard boxes for years because I couldn't go out and buy all plastic bins at one time. But if you make a plan and you know what it is you want, you can add to it over time. Just like your Christmas decorations, you add to it over time. Trust me, if you do these things the way I've shown you and the way I've taught you today, and I really believe you are going to, you're going to be so excited because, trust me, I have ribbons in my storage box out there that I've had for 20 plus years. And they are still growing strong. And you know what? When I use them, I feel very nostalgic. I feel very special. So here's the best part about this whole session this time, you guys. It really connects back to last session on Christmas decorating via theme. When you have all your Christmas balls by color, and they're all beautifully organized, and they're kind of lined up by color, and you have a section that has your basic ornaments and balls and colors in it, it is a point of inspiration. When you walk into your garage or whatever your storage area is and you look at your wall of the colors you had to choose from and you select what your theme is going to be for this coming year. How exciting is that? I mean, it's all right there and it is ready for the picking. Have a plan? With a little planning, you guarantee yourself a huge success. Protect your investment. With proper storage, you can use your decorations again and again and again. Last things first, take them down the opposite order you put them up. Design Sessions members, this is how I adequately store my Christmas decorations. And the whole point of it is plan for successful Christmas decorating for years to come by taking good care of what you've got, making sure you have the right space, you've planned your space, you've thought about it, you've gone shopping for the right containers, you've put things away properly, and you can use things year after year after year. Thank you so much for joining me this time. Have a very, very, very Merry Christmas and happy decorating. I'm sure your homes are going to be fabulous. All right, you guys, Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.